The 2024 presidential election is just 10 days away. We're now in the final stretch. And as the election nears, Trump is continuing to surge to new heights. In this video, I'll be updating my 2024 electoral map forecast to show you guys where Harris and Trump stand on the all-important battle to 270 electoral votes. We'll begin by filling in the solid states for both candidates, races that either Harris or Trump are going to win by 15 percentage points or more. We'll start off with the safe blue states for the vice president. She is easily going to win Washington, California, Hawaii, as well as Illinois, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Joe Biden's home state of Delaware, Maryland, the District of Columbia, and the 1st District of Maine. This gives her 131 electoral votes. For Trump, he's easily going to win all the rural states out west as well as the deep south. And so the safe red states on this map are going to be Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, North and South Dakota, all of Nebraska except its 2nd district, Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Indiana, and South Carolina. This puts both the Democrats and the Republicans in essentially a tie. Harris just 9 electoral votes away from Trump, who is going to easily retake the lead with the likely states. And so likely races are ones in which either candidate is going to win by 7 to 15 points. These races are going to be marginally more competitive, but one candidate will still maintain a clear edge. And so starting off with the likely states for the former president, we're going to begin with the 2 most obvious ones. The first is, of course, Alaska. He's still going to win the state by a double-digit margin, but Democrats have been making gains in the state recently. In 2022, they won the state's only House seat. Mary Peltola is now the member for Alaska. And then up in Maine, the 2nd district is going to be likely red. Trump is going to win it for a 3rd time in a row. We also have Iowa and Ohio, 2 states that Democrats always think they can win. I mean, back in 2016, most pundits and the polls had Hillary Clinton winning both Iowa and Ohio, 2 states that went to Barack Obama back in 2012. But not only did Clinton lose, she lost them by nearly double-digit margins. In 2020, the same thing happened. Pundits on the left all believe that Joe Biden would have a very good chance of winning both Iowa and Ohio. The polls definitely suggested that, but in the end, Trump won these 2 states by nearly the exact same margins. Today, Trump can win Iowa and Ohio by double-digit margins of 10 percentage points or more. It's going to be a blowout for the GOP in the lower Midwest. Both Iowa and Ohio are going to be likely Republican. And then down in the Sun Belt, we have 2 more likely red states. I think it's pretty obvious what they're going to be as well. We'll start off in Texas, a race that Trump carried by 6 points 4 years ago. He won it by 9 back in 2016. In 2024, Trump is probably going to win Texas by his largest margin yet. It can definitely vote red by 10 percentage points or more. The last Republican to win the state by a solid margin was Mitt Romney in 2012. Trump probably isn't going to crack 15, but 7 to 10 points is definitely more than likely. So the Lone Star State is going to be likely red. We also have the state of Florida, 30 additional electoral votes. I mean, just with Texas and Florida combined, this is 70 votes going towards the former president. These are 2 big prizes, 2 states that were considered competitive back in 2020. Polling had Joe Biden winning Texas at multiple points of the 2020 cycle. He was also supposed to win Florida based on the data on election day. Not only did Biden lose Florida, but he performed worse than Clinton did here back in 2016. And in 2024, Democrats know they've lost Florida. It is completely gone for them. Trump can win the state by anywhere from 7 to 12 points. It is most definitely likely red. And so with the likely states filled in for Trump, he is at 219 electoral votes, just 51 away from the presidency. Before I continue, nearly 70% of you guys are not subscribed, so please subscribe right now for more content like this leading up to the election in November. And join my Discord server to participate in our 2024 prediction contest at discord.gg/elections. We're now going to move on to the likely blue states races that Harris is going to win by 7 percentage points or more. And so we'll start off with Oregon and New Jersey. These 2 states are obviously still going to go blue, blue, but just by lesser margins than their more liberal neighbors. Oregon and New Jersey fundamentally are not as left-leaning as, say, states like Washington or Maryland. We also have the Empire State of New York. I see Harris winning the race by just under 15 points. It's going to be the worst Democratic performance in the Empire State since 1988. And then finally, we have Colorado, 10 electoral votes. It's a state that Biden carried by 14 points in the last election. Harris isn't even going to crack 10. She'll be lucky if she wins the state by over 7 points. But for now, I do have the race as likely Democratic. And so with all of the likely states filled in, Harris trails with just 191 electoral college votes. And so we're now left with the 12 most competitive races in the country. We also have the 2nd District of Nebraska, but really it's going to be these states that will actually decide the winner of this election, which again is in just 10 days. For Kamala Harris to win, she has to sweep the entirety of the upper Midwest: Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Now, the good news for her is that Joe Biden did win all 4 of these states back in 2020, but the bad news for her is that she is polling way below where the incumbent president was 4 years ago. She's also polling much worse than where Hillary Clinton was back in 2016, and she lost Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, and barely came out with a victory in Minnesota. We're now going to fill in the lean states, races that are going to go to Harris or Trump by 2 to 7 points. Now, these races could definitely go either way, but realistically, one candidate is still the clear favorite to come out on top. We're going to start off in Tim Walz's home state of Minnesota. He's basically the only reason why Kamala Harris is the favorite here. If Walz wasn't on the ballot, Minnesota would be one of the most competitive states in the country. Harris leads by just 3 to 4 points in the polls, despite Joe Biden having won the state by a whopping 7 points in 2020, and he wasn't running with the state's incoming governor. So the first lean state on the map is going to be Minnesota, going in favor of the Democrats. Next up, in New Mexico, Kamala Harris is struggling here. She leads by just 6 points in the polls, even though Joe Biden carried the state by nearly double that margin. Democrats are losing Hispanic voters, and this is a trend you see all across the country. So New Mexico is also going to be lean blue. Before we continue, I want to tell you guys about Polymarket, the world's largest prediction market, where you can track election results and instantly see who's leading. These odds react in real time to current events instead of days later like the polls. There's no bias or media spin, just pure data. The market odds reflect the collective analysis, beliefs, and wisdom of thousands of traders reacting to world events. Polymarket has also recently launched a mobile app where you can access their 2024 election forecast on the go. Make sure you check them out at polymarket.com and visit the App Store to download the Polymarket app. Moving up now to the Northeast, we have 2 rather competitive races in New Hampshire and Maine, 2 states that Kamala Harris is going to win by less than 7 points. Joe Biden, though, did win these 2 states by likely margins, but just as recently as 2016, these 2 states went down to the wire. In New Hampshire, Hillary Clinton won by less than half a percentage point. In Maine, she came out on top by less than 3. The margin of victory for Kamala Harris is going to fall somewhere between Clinton's and Biden's, so both of these races are going to be lean blue. We also have the 2nd District of Nebraska. Democrats are favored here, and redistricting has actually put Democrats in an even better position. That's really the only reason why Harris is winning here. If we went back to the old 2nd District borders, Donald Trump would likely be the winner. And finally, the last lean blue state on this map is going to be the Commonwealth of Virginia. I have Kamala Harris winning by just over a 2-point margin. The state went to Biden by 10% in the last election, but it has definitely taken a huge shift to the right ever since. Republicans actually won the governorship here with Glenn Youngkin back in 2021. Polling today shows Harris leading here by just 5 points, but considering how polls here always overestimate Democrats, Democrats, I would be surprised if she's actually able to pull off anywhere near a likely margin of victory. And so Virginia is going to be the final lean blue state going in favor of Kamala Harris. We're now left with the final 7 states, 3 up in the Rust Belt and 3 down in the Sun Belt. It's these 7 states that are actually going to decide the next president, because the results in virtually all the other states is predetermined. There's no way Republicans are going to win in Washington or Colorado. Kamala Harris isn't going to win in Texas or Florida. It's really these 7 states that have a very high likelihood of being able to go one way or the other. And the bad news for Kamala Harris is that she is losing in every single one of them. All 7 of the battlegrounds, Kamala Harris is underwater. We're going to start off with Georgia. In my opinion, this is going to be the most right-leaning of all 7 states, but what's surprising is that it actually went to Joe Biden in the last election. Biden carried it by just under a quarter of a percentage point. It was the closest state on the entire map. Today, though, Trump leads by a whopping 2.2% margin. Polls in Georgia generally are pretty accurate. I see Trump coming out on top here by 3 to 4 points. It's going to be an impressive margin of victory considering his loss just 4 years ago. So the first lean red state on the map is going to be the peach state of Georgia. Next up, we have another Sunbelt state, and that will be Arizona. I'm basically going to go in the order that he's going to win these races. It'll go from being the most conservative to the least. And so we already started with Georgia. This is his first step on his path to victory. The next one is Arizona. And the reason why is because if he doesn't win Arizona, he'll be pretty unlikely to be able to win any of the 5 remaining states. So Arizona really is a must-win state. If he doesn't have support here, he's going to struggle everywhere else. But the good news for him is that just like in Georgia, he has taken a wide lead in Arizona. In fact, he's ahead by 1.5%. And what you have to consider is that polls always underestimate Donald Trump. That has happened every single election cycle, every single time. And so I have Arizona going to Trump by a pretty similar margin to Georgia, probably around 3 percentage points. This is yet another race the Democrats actually won in 2020. So this is a state that Kamala Harris is defending, but clearly she is not doing good enough of a job. That is why Arizona will also be lean for Donald Trump. We're actually going to jump up now to Pennsylvania. We're going to go up to the Midwest. We're going to skip Nevada and North Carolina for now. I have Pennsylvania as the next state that's going to fall in favor of the former president. It has 19 electoral votes, the most valuable of all the battlegrounds. If Trump wins Pennsylvania, it is basically over for Kamala Harris. She must sweep the entire Midwest, and that is something nobody really believes she is on track to do. In the Keystone State, Donald Trump leads by 0.6% in the polls. He's probably going to win the race by just over 2 points. It's definitely going to be competitive because both campaigns know just how important Pennsylvania is. That is why both candidates are making so many stops in the state. In 2016, Trump carried Pennsylvania by 0.7. Biden won it back by 1.2. So it really has been extremely close in both of the last 2 cycles. But going into 2024, Pennsylvania is going to be the final lean red state on this map. All 4 of the remaining states are going to be categorized as tilt, which means they'll be decided by 2 percentage points or less. And we're going to begin in North Carolina, where I have Trump winning by just under 2 points. It's still going to be a strong victory for the former president. He's going to improve off of his performance from 2020, but the reason why I do have some concerns about Trump in the Tar Heel state is because of Mark Robinson, the Republican candidate for governor. He's run a horrible campaign. He is going to lose. He's just been hit by too many scandals, and these down ballot races are not going to have that much of an impact on the race at the top of the ticket, but Robinson is definitely not doing Trump any favors. According to the polling average, Trump leads by 0.8%. I fully believe he's going to win North Carolina. I mean, this is a state that he carried in both 2016 and 2020, the only one out of the 7 swing states where he was able to do that. However, considering the gubernatorial race, I have shifted North Carolina into the tilt tilt Republican category. And so this will be enough for Trump to get over 270. His pathway lies through most of the Sunbelt states, along with Pennsylvania. Now, he technically doesn't need Arizona, but if he doesn't win Arizona, he's going to struggle in Pennsylvania and North Carolina. If he wins these two states, it's basically guaranteed he'll have won Arizona already too. And so now we're just going to finish off the map, fill in Wisconsin and Michigan, two states that always vote together along with Pennsylvania. The last time where the three blue wall states didn't all go to the same candidate was the election of 1988. And so looking at the polling today, Trump leads by 0.2% in both Michigan and Wisconsin. Polling actually overestimated Joe Biden by 6 to 7 points in both of these states last time around. There's no doubt Trump is going to flip Michigan and Wisconsin back. He won them in 2016. They're going to vote for him by around 1 to 2 points. And finally, Nevada is what I believe to be the most competitive state at this point, and this is really bad for Kamala Harris because this is the only one where she even has a remote chance. The polling currently has the former president ahead by 0.7. Polls in Nevada are generally pretty accurate. It's become a very competitive state. I mean, in 2022, Republicans won the governorship but lost the Senate seat. But for now, I do have Trump as the favorite. I mean, he is gaining in momentum so fast. It doesn't look like it's going to die down. And when it comes to politics, momentum is extremely important. And so this is my updated 2024 electoral map prediction. Donald Trump at a whopping 312 electoral votes, easily on track to win. Arizona, Georgia, and Pennsylvania aren't even that close. He only needs one of the four tilt states. He is definitely on track to win this thing. The former president is going to return to the White House come January 20th, 2025. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe right now for more content like this leading up to the election in November, and join my Discord server at discord.gg/elections.